Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Kasper.
Packers, Eagles. Oh, man, I was just looking at some snowfalls. Oh, they did really get some snow down south to our southern portion of the state, didn't they? Kenosha, 9.5. Racine, 9? Jeez. All right, we did kind of dodge a bullet down there. Holy moly. Anyways, bowl predictions, keys to victory, key matchups, vibe check Brewers, Bucks, Packers fans for tonight's game. How you feeling about this game? And who are your players or persons that have to have a game? I look at this from let's start off with the Packers offensive side of things. One of the things that I'm going to be curious to watch tonight is what do the Packers decide to do in terms of, do they want to play a little up-tempo? Because it kind of looked like, and I know it's a small sample size, and it could just be a victim of the moment sort of thing from last week against Carolina, but it finally looked a little bit more cohesive. They moved the ball better, and they actually scored when they ran a little up-tempo. Will Green Bay do that more tonight? Or, call it what it is, will they be a little bit nervous to do that? Because if they do that, that means potentially more possessions for the Eagles' offense. Do they want to try to hold on to the football, have those 7-8-minute drives, and come away with touchdowns? And hopefully come away with touchdowns. And try to keep Philly's offense on the sideline. How do you balance that? And how do they get to a point where, okay, let's say they start off the game not doing up-tempo sort of thing, and it's just not clicking. Do they go to it quicker? Or do they just kind of like, nope, we don't want to, potentially give the Eagles more offensive possessions? What does Matt LaFleur decide? What do the Packers offense decide to do at that point? Because I don't think they can wait so long like they did against Carolina to say, hey, we got to try something different. They can't. So what's the style? How do they kind of approach this? I think this is a huge night for Matt LaFleur as not only the head coach, but as the play caller for this offense. Offense has been inconsistent. They've been up and down. And coming off of a very poor performance last week, as the game plan guy, as the play caller, doing all the main man, no offense to Steno and such, he has got to be on tonight. He has got to be a step ahead of Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. One step ahead of him all night long. Let Fangio chase you. LaFleur has to dictate what's going on in the game from the offensive side for the Packers. Let him dictate it. He has got to be on with his game strategy, his game plan, his call sheet, everything. He has got to help out his offense. Maybe that means taking some of the handcuffs off of Love if there is a little bit of handcuffs off on him. Maybe it's taking some of that off and letting him eat and such, but might have to be a little bit more aggressive tonight. Let's open up the playbook a little bit more. Let's see what he's got in the back pages of that thing. And yes, no Tucker Kraft sucks. It stinks. Okay, there will be a loss. His loss will be affected in other ways. You got to change up some things now. I think there was too many times in that Carolina game, and at points this year, where we saw an offense being called in a way that LaFleur wants to maybe play offense. Well, let's now start to call the offense around what the players can best do for you. Okay? Luke Musgrave cannot block like Tucker Kraft can. So let's not constantly ask maybe Luke Musgrave to be an inline blocker. Let's maybe get him out in space, maybe running up the seam. Let's put our players in a position to succeed and affect this game. I want to see Green Bay attacking that 10 to 19-yard range in the passing game a little bit more. That's where Luke Musgrave can have an effect in this game. That's where a guy like Dontayvion Wicks, if he's active in this game, which I think he will be, but that's just my opinion, that's where he could be effective in this game. And if Matthew Golden is out, this has got to be a big night for Wicks. And this is a heck of an opportunity for Dontayvion Wicks 2 nights to still showcase, hey, he's got a bright future. He's kind of been lost in the shuffle for the wide receiver depth. Because you got Matthew Golden, a rookie everybody's still excited about. Christian Watson's back. Romeo Doubs has been the safety net. Jaden Reed's been out with an injury. Tucker Kraft's been getting a ton of catches and such. Wicks has missed a couple weeks here with an injury, but he's been kind of lost in the shuffle. Here's a chance. Here's an opportunity for him tonight if he's able to go. Showcase you still have that talent. Showcase that you could be a go-to guy. I look at Wicks and Musgraves as being key players for tonight's game. Let's use them. Let's get them involved. Especially in that 10 to 19 yard. I don't want to see the amount of bubble screens and wide receiver screens and horizontal throws that we saw last week. I'd be okay if we didn't see any of them tonight. Odds are we'll probably see a couple. But let's get a little bit more vertical in the passing game instead of a little bit more horizontal. Okay? But I feel like you still have to get Josh Jacobs involved in this. Whether it's running the football or getting him involved in the passing game too. Green Bay's pass offense works incredibly well when they can get the play action going. Well, you got to get a little bit of a run game going. So for all of this that we're saying, what the Packers have to do on the offense, Matt LaFleur is a big key in this. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, these receivers, it all starts from the ground up, and it all starts with the offensive line. The offensive line has to dictate tonight's game. They have to play one of their best games that they have had all season long. No stupid penalties where it limits you, where it affects you, where you're taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back. We're talking about, hey, 10-yard gain. Nope. Holding or false start, offensive line, so-and-so. They got to be on tonight. They got to be on in their protections. Keep Jordan Love clean. Open up running holes for Josh Jacobs. It all starts tonight with the offensive line. Matt LaFleur, to me, is a key player, is a big-time key into determining who's going to win tonight's game, but it's got to start with the offensive line. If the offensive line is going to continue with some of their inconsistencies and boneheaded penalties and whatever, it's going to take them. It's going to have such a huge effect on this game. Again, taking the 2 steps back instead of taking 2 steps forward. Starts with the offensive line play. Defensive line, you could say the same thing. I mean, every week we can say this. The trenches. Games are still won in the trenches. The Eagles are an example of this over the years where they've invested so much in the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line, for crying out loud. Green Bay here again. Micah, Rashawn, Wyatt, Wooden. Starts with them. Not only in stopping Saquon, but Jalen Hurts, putting a contained pressure on him, containing him so he's not extending plays with his feet. It starts up there, and it starts with and those linebackers. Green Bay cannot allow Saquon or Hurts to get to that third level. So it puts more on Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie. If Saquon's able to get past the line of scrimmage, Cooper, Quay, McDuffie, got to bring him down. Don't let him get to that third level. If he's able to get to the edge, get him. Use that speed, sideline to sideline speed we keep hearing about and we keep seeing with Walker and Cooper. It's going to be on display tonight. If Hurts is able to step up in a pocket and he's got space, Cooper, Walker, it's up to you guys. You might have some one-on-one situations with Jalen Hurts or Saquon. You have to win those one-on-one situations. And then, depending on how the Packers play Dallas Goedert at tight end, who's got 7 touchdown catches already this year, whether it's Javon Bullard or maybe it's Evan Williams or McKinney or a linebacker, or maybe it's a little bit of both. These linebackers are going to be busy for Green Bay tonight. Let's see that athleticism. Let's see that skill on full display tonight. Let's see the Coopers and the Walkers have a game tonight. Let's see them dominate tonight. Number 7, number 56, we got to see them flying all over the ball. And I want to see this defense flying to the football like we kind of saw in the first couple weeks. That energy where it was like, man, it's a quick pass to Gibbs or something like that, but the rush of green to the ball carrier, the rush of green jerseys to the ball carrier, gang tackling, team tackling, it's got to be tonight. We got to have that tonight. Going up against Saquon, going up against Hurts, going up against Goddard, AJ, Devontae. Flow to the football. Don't just count on, don't count on your man to get that one-on-one tackle. Everybody flows. We got to show off this speed. And then you look at the corners in the secondary. Touched a little bit on it with Goddard. Whether it is Javon Bullard or maybe a mixture of safety help, linebacker help, whatever the case may be. Green Bay this year, when they've gone up against some really good tight ends, some of those tight ends have had success. Some pretty darn good success. Let's not let a guy who's got 7 touchdown catches already dominate this game. It's a tough task. They've got a lot of weapons, but you got to limit it. A.J. Brown's numbers may be down this year. He's still a dang good receiver. You still got speedy Devontae Smith, too. Carrington, Keyshawn. Guys, we need you to have a game tonight. Okay? Keyshawn, you want to be a number 1 corner? You want to prove that you're a number 1 corner? Here you go. Monday Night Football against A.J. Brown and Smith. Whoever you're lined up against, accept the challenge. Carrington, you want to continue to get starter snaps? Accept the challenge. Win tonight's challenge. Get the job done. How Xavier McKinney is going to be played tonight, I think, is going to be interesting, too. Do you keep him back? Maybe as a safety net? Do you bring him up closer to the box because of the Dallas Goedert or the Saquon Barkley effect? Try to get him more involved in the game closer to the line of scrimmage? How does Jeff Hafley play it? There's a lot of this. This is such a big chess match type of game tonight, and it's 2 teams that are familiar with each other. Last year, 2 games, opener, playoffs. Micah is obviously very familiar with Philadelphia, spending time in the NFC East. These teams know each other well, and there's so many keys to victory, key matchups that we could go through this thing. Can't turn the ball over if you're Green Bay. It's going to be really hard to create turnovers. Jalen Hurts only has 1 interception this year, so it's going to be hard. So if you're a defensive player and you get a hand on a ball, you got to come away with that thing. If Jalen Hurts is going to gift wrap you an interception, take it like a little kid gets a toy at Christmas and runs around and you can't catch him. Or that kid finds something at the toy store and he grabs it off the shelf and he runs away and he says, no, I'm getting this thing, and he runs away from you. That's how I want to see a defensive player. You get that football, you get a hand on that, you secure that thing. Okay? You get a fumble, you get a forced fumble, you jump on that thing. If you could somehow win the turnover battle tonight and manufacture multiple turnovers from the Eagles, Give your offense some extra possessions. In red zone, speaking of the offense, you got to come away with tuds. You can't get into a field goal game. Last week, red zone offense was horrible. How are you going to improve that? How are you, if you get into that red zone tonight, within the 20, how are you going to come away with touchdowns instead of field goal attempts? Because field goal attempts and field goals ain't going to cut it. Let's put up a big number right away. Let's get the energy going. Get Lambeau rocking. Put up an early lead. Give momentum to the defense. Let's play some darn complimentary football tonight, where the offense is rolling and the defense is shutting it down. Where both sides are just piggybacking off each other. Offense scores, momentum goes to the defense. They use that momentum, quick 3 and out, give it right back to the offense, and let's go score again. Let's play some awesome complimentary football tonight. That's what I want to see. Is this a must-win game? I think it's a must-win in terms of maybe just giving yourself some confidence. Obviously, for seedings purposes, it would make things a lot easier. It's must-win in terms of controlling your destiny because things are so tight in the NFC. Is it a must-win to get into the playoffs? Right at this point, probably not because there's so much football to be played. Yes, tiebreakers come into play here. But you can make the case it's a must-win and for some areas, not everything. But coming off that loss against Carolina and that ugly performance, take offense to it. Keep that bad taste in your mouth tonight when you go out on that field against the Eagles and when you hit that field on Lambeau. Remember that game from last week. Remember, hey, last time we were on this field, we got embarrassed. We stunk. Use it. Take it out on the Eagles. You know the Eagles are a physical team. Match the physicality. Can this Packers team match the physicality from this Eagles team? We heard all offseason about physicality from the Eagles and Packers trying to increase their physicality. Here you go. Here's your opportunity. Can you match the physicality that you're going to get from Philadelphia? Can that offensive line bring it? Can that defensive front bring it? Maybe it's going to boil down to the team that's the most physical tonight is going to be the one that wins it.